Yes, Dave. I was born on February 3rd, 1942.
Okay.
I was born as a war baby. I just called my mother a week ago, wished her happy birthday. She's 98 years old and going strong. Her three brothers had died recently.
Okay.
They all served in World War II. As of January 7th, 1941, they all left college or high school, and they volunteered without question. The day after Pearl Harbor, they committed themselves and their lives to this country.
Yes.
Are you willing to commit yourself to 6 years, whether you get reelected or not, to do what is right?
You know, interesting question. I'm going to sit down for this one. It's too important. I took an oath of office, June 3rd, 1995, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. It was not a part-time oath. It was not something I was committing to just while I was in the Army. It was a lifetime commitment. And I'm here to tell you tonight, as I've told every other group I've spoken to, there's absolutely nothing that I would not sacrifice, that I would not put aside in my life, that I would not do without, to make sure this country sees a next generation of liberty, a next generation of freedom, a next generation of opportunity. There's nothing I wouldn't do for just more than 6 years, if the Lord blesses me with more than that on this earth. As long as I have breath in my lungs, as long as my fingers and toes and legs and arms work, I'll be fighting for this country.
The thing that's important to me is you're running to get reelected.
I'm not running to get reelected.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I want somebody who's willing to have guts enough to do what's right.
You know, yeah, it's a fair question. There are a lot of people in this political class right now.
We have gutless politicians right now.
There are a lot of people in this political class who do just that. They run to get elected, and they go to Washington, they go to Mass, or they go wherever, and they hide out until the next election cycle. And then they tell you a lot of stories about how they've worked so hard over the last period of time between elections and all the things they've accomplished. When really, look at where we are. Look at what's happened in the last 18 years. Have we improved? Have things gotten better in this country? What are the list of accomplishments that Senator Feingold can point to say, this is how I've made this country better?
Well, basically, he passed a law that was clean up the elections, and he got voted out by the Supreme Court.
It was a rhetorical question.
So it was a waste of time.
Right. The bottom line is, we've gotten too comfortable in this country, allowing elected officials to tell us how successful they've been, without us really holding them accountable. We have to change that.
And you and I know that law only pushed things over to the right or the left. It didn't change a thing.
Yeah. We have to change this I guess, asleep at the wheel mentality that voters have had. And the fact that you're all out here tonight is a great example that I think the sleeping giant has been awoken. And it's time to make sure we carry that into this election, and carry it through this election, and carry it on into the future, to make sure that every single generation after us recognizes how important, how precious liberty is, how important the sacrifice your brothers made, volunteering to go to war for this country, to sacrifice their lives if necessary for this country. How important and how precious that is. It hasn't changed from the time the founding fathers committed their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor, up to today. And in a society like this, we'll always see, in a free society, you always find that the few will be willing to sacrifice themselves for the many. And in that group of the few who are willing to stand up, even fewer will actually give everything they can give for the many. We need to honor all of them, because that's not a sacrifice they make lightly. It's not a commitment they take lightly. And when we dishonor the system of governance that our founding fathers have created for us, we dishonor every single person who's fought and died to preserve that.
Okay, we'll start up with some more questions. Dave, feel free to have a seat.
I don't know if I can. I'm too
We're done now. Okay, well, this isn't on the PowerPoint, but we've had Ron Johnson here before us.
Mm-hmm.
Distinguish yourself from Ron Johnson, first of all. What makes you a better candidate than him?
Wow. Well, First of all, I don't think this is a very difficult document to understand.
I did his homework.
Well, I carry this with me wherever I go. I mean, truthfully, it's the Constitution is something that's so sacred, yet so basic that anybody who aspires to want to work within the confines of it should understand it. I'm perfectly comfortable evaluating and discussing and debating it. That's what I want to do. The Second Amendment, I know, is about more than hunters' rights. I know that it's the liberty that the Second Amendment protects is as much of our everyday life in America as anything else we do. It's as fundamental to America as the rest of the Bill of Rights. It's critical to preserving and maintaining our liberty. It's the final vanguard to protect each of us individually. And without that, you don't just lose hunters' rights, you lose all of your rights. The Patriot Act. Ron Johnson thinks the Patriot Act, as it stands right now, should be renewed because it's the tool that is working in the war on terror. Well, we just talked about how it is not working in the war on terror, regardless of the fact that there are plenty of arguments you can make that it violates civil liberties, and it goes way too far into intruding into our lives that we should not be intruded into by our government. Drilling for oil in the Great Lakes. I think it's completely unnecessary. Ron Johnson has flip-flopped on this twice.
Is it oil or natural gas? Now, some people have said oil, some have said natural gas.
Well, it doesn't matter for me, but
Okay.
usually when you find oil, you find natural gas as well. So I think that drilling for either in the Great Lakes is an unnecessary risk.
So you think you're splitting hairs there? That's where I'm getting at.
Well, yeah, you can't
Okay.
you can't drill for oil and then just not discover natural gas. It's a natural byproduct. Also, the way we're running our campaign, I think, is a major difference. Before I get off of that, I want to talk about one more issue. When it comes to pro-life issues, I'm 100% pro-life without exception. Ron Johnson makes 3 exceptions that I think that are so ripe for abuse when it comes to making them that I just can't see the possibility of allowing that. The way we're running our campaigns is a major difference as well. I'm not a millionaire. I don't pretend to be a millionaire. I would like to be a millionaire, but this is not in the cards right now. So I'm not running my campaign as if I am a millionaire. I'm being true to who I am. I'm getting out and talking to each and every one of you. I'm here to take all of your questions. I'm not avoiding anybody. I'm going to every vetting session that I get invited to, and I do so regardless of who the group is, regardless of whether you're a Republican, Independent, Democrat, non-affiliated. I don't care. You are Americans. You are Wisconsin citizens, and I want to be everybody's U.S. Senator, not just one small group that's going to ask me easy questions. So in that, I've been able to meet thousands of people across the state. And I'm proud to say that because of that, and because we stay consistent with our message, I don't vary whether I'm talking to a group of Republicans or Democrats or Independents. It doesn't matter. My message is still the same. It's I think, a uniquely American message. Because of that, 30% of our volunteers, almost 40% of our followers, are either Democrats or Independents. That's the mix you need to win a statewide race against Senator Feingold. That's why I believe I'm the stronger candidate to face Senator Feingold.
In your opinion, what do you believe the role is of the federal government?
Very simple, and it's very limited. Keep us safe, and then continue to look for ways to shrink itself. Right? In the preamble to the Bill of Rights, the Founding Fathers recognized that when you give a man power, his natural inclination is to look for more power. So the only way you limit that is to put constraints on it, make sure you hobble it. And that's what the Bill of Rights is there for. So it's very clear that the federal government is supposed to keep all of our shores safe, which means even in Arizona. And if we fail to do so in Arizona, Arizona should have the right to step up and protect their own citizens. Beyond that, the federal government is supposed to look for ways to stop spending our money, stop collecting our taxes, so that we may be Americans. So that means looking for ways to take bureaucracies that are unnecessary out of the federal budget so that they don't have to tax for it, so we get to keep that money. That's what the role of the federal government is.